Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but we also discuss how we're going to fix it together. Now, the content that I'm going to show you this morning is a little bit of a mixed bag. While we did get a disappointing answer from the Supreme Court, we got some very specific language directly to you and I from two of the Supreme Court justices who favor the Second Amendment rights. This is something I've got to show you. Send this one out because this is that goodness right here. Everything is linked in the description box below, and I cannot wait to hear from you guys on this one. And if you are new or a returning viewer, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe, and turn that notification bell on so we can get as many people in the fold, and we can pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation. It's with you that we move forward, and thank you so much in advance for your consideration. Now, the sponsorship spot today is the Second Press. And in full transparency, the Second Press is my own company, and it was founded with a sole purpose: to break the status quo. I don't like the idea that representatives go to Washington and don't represent us. I don't like being upset about something but not having a plan forward to move our rights to the next generation, and that is what the Second Press is all about. At the Second Press, we are creating original, shareable Pro 2A articles, narrating podcasts, founding multiple YouTube channels, and offering exclusive content with your favorite 2A creators on our Substack. This is something that is in the link in the description box below, and I'd love for you to check out. Join the mailing list. It's completely free, and thank you so much in advance for your consideration, as I said, with the subscription to the channel. But let's get into this because we got to talk about what Justices Alito and Thomas said to you guys, the sponsors of freedom, the ones who are endorsing all of the lawsuits, the ones who are endorsing the fight for our Second Amendment. They threw some encouragement your way. Check this out because you know how I love me some encouragement. All right. Alito and Thomas encouraged opponents of gun control laws to keep the pressure on the courts. Now, of course, this is a CNN article that I'm citing, and the reason I'm citing it is because you can hear the clear bias there. Sending encouragement to gun control opponents or proponents of freedom. You know, you could phrase that two different ways. Of course, CNN's going to do it the negative. But this came out on Wednesday. Check this article out. Supreme Court Justices Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas sent a strong signal Wednesday that they are very carefully watching to ensure federal courts do not thumb their noses at the High Court's landmark decision that expanded gun rights nationwide. Two things on this. One, I've said it multiple times. The Bruen decision did not expand gun rights. That is a branding thing that the left is doing. They curtailed gun control. Very different. One is a negative on gun control. One is a negative on gun rights. We are going to focus on what it actually did. It curtailed gun control. It said gun control went too far and was unconstitutional. It did not say all bars are open. Let's get this going. Let's expand some gun rights. That's not what they said. Anyway, that's an important thing. The other thing here is with two of the Supreme Court justices, Alito and Thomas, sending a strong signal to keep going. They know what the outcome is. They know the constitutionality. Of course, they can't say all the details, but they're sending you some encouragement. Anyway, let's keep going because this is all about the second appellate court. Last June's decision in New York State Rifle and Pistol v. Bruen inspired supporters of gun rights across the country to file fresh challenges to an array of firearms regulations, gun control. Now that ripple effect is taking hold, emboldened gun rights activists who have seen early success while alarming some judges and supporters of gun restrictions. Early success is going to be followed by midterm success, which is going to be followed by long-term success. The combination of the Heller decision and the Bruen decision are almost undefeatable. The only way you can get around it is you blatantly ignore it, which is what we're about to allude to here, and I think that's where Alito and Thomas are coming from, because they said something very specific. Now, let's dive into what they said about the courts. While the court on Wednesday let a New York handgun restriction stand pending further legal action, that's the sensitive places from New York, Alito essentially said the challengers should remain vigilant and keep the pressure on the courts. Quote, applicants should not be deterred by today's order from again seeking relief if the appeals court doesn't move swiftly or explain its actions, Alito wrote, joined by Thomas in a statement issued with the Supreme Court's order. He just shot a warning shot across the bow to the Second Appellate Court. You better act quickly, and you better explain your actions, because we've already handed down the Supreme decision, and I expect an answer. That's essentially what that means. And going one step further, encouraging supporters of gun rights lawsuits, that's even going further and telling the appellate court to get on it. That's important. Now, let's keep going. I got one more thing for you. Well, two more things for you. The Supreme Court denied the request Wednesday without explaining its reasoning or vote count. But Alito, joined by Thomas in a statement, wrote that the new law presents novel and serious questions about the Second Amendment. He explained he had denied that gun owners' emergency request because the case had not worked its way through the normal appellate process. He made clear that his vote did not express any view on the merits of the law. So look at these pieces that he's laid out. He said, hey, gun rights supporters, keep going and putting pressure on the courts. Hey, appellate court, you better find a quick answer and you better have good explanation as to why you found that answer. And then he said the decision not to get involved has nothing to do with the law or my interpretation of the law. It all has to do with following the proper process. Put those cookie crumbles together and you got a cookie. And I got the last thing for you, and then we're going to go about our Thursday. Alito's response was an unusually strong statement that also urged the Second U.S. Court of Appeals, which he said has issued unreasoned stays in parallel cases, to act with dispatch. That is powerful. Everything that you're seeing here, without them actually coming out and saying it, is leaning towards putting pressure on the appellate court to act quick, to act swiftly and explain yourself. Encourage the Second Amendment supporters and keep on going, and then also warn the Second Court that they've done something like this in the past with parallel cases. You guys picking up what I'm seeing? Everything is linked down there. Like I said, check out the Second Press and let me know what you guys think in the comments field, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.